Hey everybody, John Brown here with you again. I haven't been with you guys in a while, but hopefully you forgive me. I've got setup and some gameplay of Roll for the Galaxy. This is a game I know there's not a lot of videos out for yet, so hopefully you guys will be excited and interested in that. What I'm going to do here is show you the setup for the game, go through maybe a turn or two. Hopefully sometime soon I'll do some more gameplay, do some thoughts on it. But right now we're just going to jump right into it, show you how the game's set up, and show you how to play. Okay, I want to show you the setup for a two-player game. Now, each player is going to get one of these player shields. Now, I'm going to take this shield away just to show you the game more easily when we play it. But a lot of the information you need to know for the game is all on this shield. Now, it's going to be a little bit tricky. And this is going to look like a sea of icons and maybe even more intimidating than Race for the Galaxy. But actually, once you kind of teach it and learn it, it's actually much simpler, and there's a lot of text showing you, what everything does. But we're not going to get too much into thoughts about the game. We're just going to show some gameplay. So we're going to get rid of this screen and then show you some basic setup here. So each player is going to get this kind of double-sized tile. There's a bunch of them randomly that each player is going to start with, and then a starting home world as well. So these are going to give players some points for the end of the game. This counts as 3 things out in your tableau. Each player is going to have at the beginning already, and some special abilities. Each player is going to get 2 white dice in what's called their citizenry, and 3 in their cup at the start of the game. And then any dice that their cards or, tiles that they start with initially tells them to get. They're also going to get 2 of these tiles. Now, all these tiles in the game you're going to draw are kind of like the cards in the original game, are two-sided. They're going to have a technology on one side and a planet on the other. Players will decide. They'll get 2. One will be they'll put up as a planet, one they'll put up in a technology as their queue here of things that they're going to be potentially working on. And then the other player also has a setup that's similar, although you notice they have some different dice. They have a different ability, and they start with 3 red dice in their citizenry, whereas in this player starts with a good already on a planet, and also a green die in their citizenry. But we set up the actions also, 1 through 5, and they're all with the X'd out marker because they won't be done in any round unless they're chosen. And then we have the point chits set up, they're 24 in a 2-player game, and then the big old pile of dice. Alright, seeing as I'm usually green when I play games, I'm going to go ahead and I'll be the green player here, and I'll roll all the dice in my cup at the start of my turn. Now, both players are actually going to do this simultaneously. Now, this is going to be behind the player screen, so it's going to be hidden information as to what dice we rolled, and then where we place them. And then, much like Fresco, if you've played that game, each player is going to choose where they want to put their dice, and then everyone will reveal at the same time, and then we'll simultaneously do actions in the order that we choose. Now, it's important to remember that each phase is only going to happen if a player selects it. And the player selects it by putting their die onto that actual action on the board. Now, if they put their dice in any other places, if another player chooses that action, then that action will trigger. Also, in a 2-player game, there's a special rule. Now, you may remember in Race for the Galaxy, in a 2-player game, each player gets 2 actions. In this game, you get more actions by rolling this die, and it will randomly activate one of the actions, but we'll do that after players select. So right now I have a choice. Now, if I just place these dice where they go, they would be set up like this. So I would get 1 Explorer action, 2 Explorer action, and then 1 Develop action. So that's, not necessarily a bad thing. All of these guys are basically going to be considered like workers, and if I take a Develop action, I get to put that on that card and go towards that development cost. And well, getting some Explorer sounds pretty good. Now, one thing you can do, every player has this ability at the very beginning. They might get some technologies that allow them to change where dice go. But if I really want to, I can place a die here. That's actually called my Dictate ability. If I do that, this die will go back into my cup, not into my citizenry, and you'll see why that's important in a minute here. And then I can choose a die of any type and then put it wherever else I want. So the face of the die matters, but you can use different abilities to move it. You keep it face up so you can keep track of what you moved. You don't want to turn to dice, but you can end up with dice in a lot of different places in what you roll. Also, whenever I choose what my action is going to be for the turn, that die I can put anywhere. So interestingly enough, if I want to put this die on the Explorer action, then I'm guaranteed 3 Explorer actions for the round. Now I could do that with an Explorer die as well, but then I would have to put this into Develop, unless I wanted to spend a die to put the Develop somewhere else. But I don't want to do that, so I'm going to go ahead and do that with the green player. So the green player is going to choose the explore action. We know that's going to activate. Then we know, and this counts as one of my workers, so all 3 of these dice will be explore actions that I'll get to do. Now the red player, this is what they rolled. Okay, so they rolled a produce and to explore, because their planet here that they have, their starting planet, is a gray planet, and then over here we had a green and a brown planet. So the gray planets can't actually produce resources, so that's kind of a bummer. They could do the same thing. They could use this produce die on the explore action and get 3 explore, or they could say, you know what, I assume the other player is going to choose an explore early in the game. That seems to be a pretty common choice. So they could place this if they want to. Let's say they really want to get planets out. These red dice they're good at developing and they're good at getting planets out. Maybe they want some more dice. So let's say they're going to choose the settle action, so they can activate one action by putting this die here and then put the other 2 here. Now this is going to be kind of a risk, because if the explore action doesn't get chosen, these 2 dice are wasted. Now they go back into the cup and then they'll be available next turn without having to spend any money to get them back out. But the hope is that the other player will choose the explore action. Now this is pretty risky, and this may not be something this player would do, but just for an example to see how it works, this is what I'm going to head and do for this round so that you can see it. Once everyone says they're ready, they reveal their boards, and then we see that the explore action and the settle action, because that is what was actually chosen on each of the boards, are going to trigger. And then we're going to actually flip over the explore, so we know that is going to happen. We're going to flip over the settle. We know that's going to happen. And again, this is only in a 2-player game, but I'm now going to take a white die, or they're called home die, because each of the dice kind of specialize in a different thing. So I'm going to roll it, and we got to produce. So now the produce phase is going to happen as well. So if a player had put anything into in their produce section, any dice in there and any workers in there basically, then they would be able to activate it. If they have any special abilities, then those will still activate, even if there aren't any dice there, if the ability can't activate. Now here, we do have a produce ability on the green player board here. Produce 2 for each good, represented by a green, a genes die, on a planet at the end of this phase. Well, we have a brown die on a planet, but not a green die. So it's kind of a bummer, but interestingly enough, and that's one thing that's very important to keep in mind, is if that were to activate, and let's say this were a green die out there, if it was still there at the end of the phase, even if I didn't have any dice in my produce action, I would still get to trigger that ability. So now each player is going to go ahead and do some exploring. Now explore is one of the interesting things, because you can do a couple of different things with this action. You can get more tiles out of the bag, almost like getting cards in the original game, or you can just get 2 credits. So he's got some dice here that he's going to want to get back, and it's going to take credits to do that. So let's say that the green player, he's going to spend his first die, and then once you use a die as a worker, it goes into your citizenry. And he's going to get 2 credits for it, because that's one of the possible explore actions. And then you do each action separately, so you can see what happens on the first one and then react to it. And then actually he's going to go ahead and get another 2. But, well, let's see here. So I want to do something else. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and do, just so you can see, as this last explore action, we are going to go ahead and look for some more tiles here. Now how this works is I can get rid of as many tiles as I want. So I might have a stack of tiles, either one of these. I can pick and choose any of them I want, and then I draw as many tiles as I discarded plus 1. So if I discard 0 tiles, then I will just draw 1 tile, and then I can decide which side I want to use it for, and then put it into that corresponding stack. Now both of these are actually pretty good for me. I'm feeling like this player is going to want to kind of get planets out, and then ship, and then this has a shipping ability. So what this player is going to do is, with their last explore action, they're just going to draw 1 tile. So they draw a tile out of the bag. Oh, and then they have one of these 6-pointers. So familiar with Race for the Galaxy, similar thing where these 6-point developments give us 6 points, obviously, and then more points based on something at the end of the game. So this one, completing each world, put 1 or 2 settlers using the cup. Oh, it gives us a special ability whenever we settle worlds, and then victory points for different color dice we have. Well, that's pretty interesting. Or just a 1 on the one-cost planet, basically. And I should point out, it's technically called scouting if I look for tiles, and called stock if I just get money for it. So looking at these two, I kind of want to put it, because this is a really inexpensive planet to get out, which is really quick. But this ability, if I want to get a bunch of planets out, maybe even of different colors, and then the ability that I can put dice that I use back into my cup, and we'll see how that works here with this special ability, I think I'm actually going to take this, even though it's kind of early. So whenever I choose what side I want a tile to be, I put it underneath the stack. If I had any dice already working on developing or settling something, then they would stay on the card that they're on, even if I get rid of that card, if I have some other card underneath of it, or other tile, excuse me. So now I've got 5 money, and then I've got something new to work with. And then that's the end of what the green player is going to do. Now the red player, so they chose to get 2 explore actions. So just to show you something a little bit different, the red player is going to get rid of both of these tiles and then look at 3 tiles potentially. So in order to do that, we're going to take the tiles that they got rid of and then put them actually, and I'll show you over here, put them underneath this so that players don't really get to see what they discarded. So, and then at the end of the explore action, all the tiles that any players put underneath there will go back into the bag. But that way, other players aren't going to draw what you discarded on the same turn either. But they will all go back in the bag at the end of the action. As one of their actions, they're actually going to draw 3 tiles. So this worker is going to go into their citizenry because they've been used, only because the explore action was chosen, and then we'll look at 3 different tiles. Okay, the red players looked at their 3 tiles. So here's a technology that helps me with shipping, which I'm not really interested in. But here's a planet that gives me a red die, and I'm kind of going after a big red die strategy here. And then here's one that gives me a brown planet, or a technology that helps me settling. I'm going to go just to get some more dice with another planet. And I'm going to stack them like this, though, because I was able to draw 3 tiles, and then I get to place them how I want. Now remember, if I draw later, it's going to go at the bottom of the stack, but since I drew 3 tiles and I get to keep 3, I get to decide what I want to do with these. And in this one, I'm either going to get a green planet or a technology that helps me where I can reassign dice. So instead of having to use my special ability to spend a die to move 1 die, this during each time when I'm assigning dice lets me put 2 of the white dice if I have them wherever I want. So I'm going to use that as my technology. So that was kind of my scout action with that die. With this die, I'm going to use the stock action and also get 2 money, so I'm going to go up to 3 money here. So now I'm going to send this die, and because I selected the settle action, I know it's triggered, and then I can send this die to go out and start working on settling a planet. So it takes 2 workers to settle that planet, so it doesn't get settled at the end of this round. If there were 2 dice on there, it would. So those are the actions for each player. Now each player, certain dice are going to be able to come back into their cup, and then certain ones they'll have to pay for. Now, if I had used a die on here, it would have automatically come back after I revealed. If I had any dice that didn't get triggered, so I put them somewhere and their action didn't show up, they would come back, but every other die, I'm going to have to spend money in order to get back into my cup. So this is why getting dice back in your cup automatically is nice. Now I have to spend all of my money, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dice here. So I'm going to have to spend all 5 and put 5 of these 6 dice back in my cup. Now of course I'm going to definitely take the green one, so a white one is going to get left. And then these are the dice I'm going to roll next round, and then this is going to stay in my citizenry. If I want to, I can take this one back for free, or if I'd had any dice working on stuff in my queue, developing or settling, they could come back for free. But to get them back from my citizenry, I have to pay. But I don't want to take that die back yet. I want to maybe use it to potentially get some more money or to get some victory points. Alright, over here, I've only got 3 money, so I have to spend it. And I'm going to take, what the heck, take these 3 red dice and then put them back into my cup. So this player has a few, less available things to do, but, they've started developing or settling a world already. One more thing to note, that's the manage your empire phase where we decide what dice are going to come back and we take care of all that stuff. If ever you're at 0 though, at the end of that, you automatically move back up onto 1. So both players are going to have 1 credit to start the next round. Okay, so that's 1 round and setup for Roll for the Galaxy. I'll be back hopefully pretty soon with some more of how you play the game and then being able to show off how all the other actions work. We'll go a little bit more quickly through the basic stuff, but we'll explain each of the new actions as they come up. Thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll see you guys again soon. Alright, bye.